Welcome to Fight Club 24/7. My name's Johnny Rashman. Right, let's get straight into it. Zelfa Barrett. Is he the next face of Manchester boxing? I believe he is. I believe it's time now to really get behind Zelfa and to build him into a household name. Fantastic victory at the weekend. Really showcased his skills. He's got a great story. And I think it's time now for him to be built into a superstar. I really do. Manchester boxing is crying out for a star, right? It's crying out for someone to pack out the Manchester arena. We've got a rich history in Manchester of fighters selling tickets and being stars. Ricky Hatton, Anthony Qualler, Scott Crigg, and the last few years we haven't had that. If you're looking around at the Manchester scene, there's not many who's going to fill out that arena. Hughie Fury's fighting there, but he's not really going to pack it out, is he? So Manchester boxing is crying out for that person to take over the mantelpiece of Ricky Hatton, Qualler, Craig, all them boys. And I think Zelfa Barrett is that man. Now, from a boxing point of view, Eddie Hearn's done a good job, right? He's gotten to IBF number 2, right? Doesn't matter how he's got there. When you look at the IBF rankings, Zelfa Barrett is number 2, right? He should have got that world title shot ahead of Joe Cordina. I think Joe Cordina was below him. So politics put pay to that. Zelfa didn't moan. He got on with it, claimed a European title, which is a fantastic title to win. But now it's time to get behind him. I was a bit disappointed on Saturday that there was no interview on the DAZN broadcast. Now, there was a bit of uproar on Twitter about this because people were saying, look, we want to hear him speak. He's got an emotional story. It's the anniversary of his mum passing away. 1 year to the day. Let the man have his time. And a lot of people never saw that interview. I believe there was an interview, but it just wasn't on the app. It was on a different stream. I'm not sure how that works, but for me, that's poor form. Right? I'm not being funny. If there's others who have had interviews, right, after the fight on Saturday, Zelfa should have had it, right? He should have made a point to let Zelfa speak, right? Because that was his time, right? It was an emotional story, an emotional night. Best win of his career. Let him have his time. It was a bit poor form that never happened, but I don't know if it was a technical issue, so I'm not 100% sure. We all saw Joe Cordina's victory, right? Unbelievable finish, right? If there's a way to win a world title, that was it. Great fight to Joe Cordina, but that is the fight to make next. Zelfa Barrett and Joe Cordina. That's what we want to see. Now, I believe Cordina's got a mandatory he has to take care of. Okay. That's a fight that can happen in the next 6 months. It can happen in Manchester. It can happen in Wales. We want to see it. Zelfa's got great skills, right? Let me tell you something, right? Joe Cordina is an unbelievable talent, right? Great fighter. But I'm telling you now, he isn't going to walk through Zelfa Barrett like he did with that Japanese fella. I'm telling you now, he won't. I'm not saying Zelfa's going to win the fight, but he can win it, right? Because Zelfa's got attributes. I don't care who you are. He's got attributes that will cause any fighter trouble, right? He's got fantastic fundamentals, great lateral movement, great defense, really good at countering shots. He's got a great uppercut to the body. It's his honey shot that way. He'll sort of catch it and then bang, go straight to the solar plexus with the right hand. It's a fantastic shot. Right? Even Joshua Barazzi on the commentary was saying, look, I could take something from Zelfa. He's such a good boxer. And it's true, he's a great boxer. And this is his time. I've been in that gym where he trains the world famous Collyhurst and Mostyn gym. That gym, right, let me tell you something. It's been around for 100 years. We all know the late, great Brian Hughes, who's a very well-respected trainer worldwide. And Pat Barrett's taken on that mantelpiece and now he's creating champions. I can't tell you what it's like in that gym. It's like going into a time machine. It really is. You can just smell the history. When you go there, you can just smells of boxing, smells of history. It's not an old singing, dancing gym. It's not got the best state-of-the-art equipment and all that. It's fit for purpose, right? It's got bags. It's got space. It's got a ring. And that's all you need, right? Because you can have the best equipment in the world. If you ain't got it there, it doesn't matter, right? It's fit. It's built for purpose, right? And it creates champions, that gym. It's standing the test of time. And it's just such a good environment to be in. And I was there when O'Rourke's gym was sparring there. And Zelfa, I'll be honest with you, if there was a bad vibe in the gym or there was egos, I'd tell you, but there's not. Even Pat Barrett's a great trainer, and there's a lot of people on Twitter like to say, oh, he's the scariest man in boxing and this and that. Look, Don't get me wrong, right? You don't want to get on the fucking wrong side of Pat Barrett, right? But the guy's a good guy. Like, every time I've been in his presence, he likes to have the banter. He's always been warm. First time I saw him, he threw everything out. He literally moved things out of his office. He said, Johnny, come and sit here. Come and sit here. Come into my office. You know, that's not someone who's the scariest bloke in boxing. Do you know what I mean? So I think the media like to portray him as a certain character where he's just a guy who's knows everything about boxing. His love for boxing, his passion. He's done everything. He's been a European champion. He's been a promoter. He's been a manager. He's been a trainer. You know, he everything. His life is boxing. What he puts into that gym, right? And he might not talk all the time. He's not bothered. He just wants. He's just interested in his fighters, right? And that's what that gym is like. Zelfa around the gym. He's got time for everyone. Whether you're an amateur, whether you're someone's dad, whether someone's from the media, he'll talk to you. He's a good talker. He's a good guy. There's no ego to him. So he's a very likeable character, right? And I believe that Eddie Hearn is missing a trick. I believe he can be built into the next big Manchester ticket seller. Manchester boxing's crying out for it, right? And he's at a stage of his career now, Zelfa, where this is it. I remember speaking to him, and he said to me, look, I'm completely in the best stage of my career. I'm ready to be a world champion. I'm polished. I've got a nutritionist on board. I take it 100%. I'm mentally strong and ready to go. And I believe it. I believe this is his time. And I think the Cordina fight's a massive fight. I think people are interested in Zelfa now. But what I want to see Eddie do is really get behind him, because it's easy doing that on fight week and putting a few programs out and a few interviews, because he's in the public's mind, isn't he? He's in the consciousness, right? It's fight week. But I want to see when it's not fight week, right? I don't want to see Zelfa not being mentioned again till he fights, right? Put him on the DAZN broadcast. He's a great talker, right? He knows he's a fountain of knowledge about boxing. Let him be on commentary. Let him be on a few of the shows. Let him be on the broadcast. Let Eddie Hearn do a podcast with him. Let him do other media outlets that's associated with Matchroom. You know, let's really plug him now, because people like him. If you look on social media, no one says a bad word about him, right? He's a likeable character, right? And he's got unbelievable talent. I really believe he's got great talent, Zelfa. He does everything well. So people are interested in him now. He's got a great story. And I think this is the time to build him, right? I think Eddie Hearn needs to really push him. There was a Matchroom show, it might have been last year, right? And Zelfa wasn't even on the main broadcast. He was on that behind the gloves or whatever it's called, before the bell. I don't know if it was the first fight or second fight on, and I don't know who there was fighters in front of him. It might have been Sandy Ryan. I'm not 100% sure if it was, but Sandy Ryan's a good talent, but she shouldn't be in front. She shouldn't be ahead of Zelfa on the fight card, right? That's just ridiculous. And I thought it was a bit disrespectful. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know if it was a late notice fight or I don't know what it was, but I just think that's not a way to treat someone you're meant to be pushing. Put him in, not even on the main broadcast, on the fight, on the card before that. That's disrespectful in my book. And look, people say I criticise Eddie and I give him hate. I don't. Listen to me. Eddie Hearn's the best promoter in boxing, right? Period. The best promoter in boxing. I'm just not a yes Eddie, 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 right? I will call him out if I believe he's talking bullshit, which he does. He's a promoter. All promoters talk bullshit. They don't tell you the truth. They tell you what they want you to hear. My job is to tell the truth or to give you different opinions, you know? But make no mistake, Eddie's a great promoter. I've got a lot of respect for him. And from a boxing point of view, as I say, he's done well because he's got him to an IBF number 2 position, right? Regardless of how he's got there. So you've got to say that boxing side, good job. But from a profile point of view, I don't think he's got behind him like he should do. If he was from Essex, maybe it'd be a different story. I don't know, right? But I believe this is Zelfa's time. Now, especially after that performance, let's get on the back of it. Let's build some momentum. Let's get his face across. Let's get his face everywhere now. Let's see him on advertisements. Let's see him on DAZN broadcasts, right? He can bring the Manchester United fan base into it. He's a United fan. He's friends with United players. You know, so there's a lot of growth with Zelfa. There really is. He's not a prospect anymore. He's now, it's his time to be built into a household name, not just in Manchester, but in the UK. People like him, right? So I just don't understand why he hasn't been back before. Maybe he will be now, I don't know. But I think this is the time now for Matchroom to really get behind him. Joe Cordina, right, as I say, what a way to win a world title, eh? Unbelievable shot, great finish. He's a great fighter, isn't he, Cordina? Like, he's always had that ability. But we're hearing about Shakur Stevenson and this fight and that fight. I don't think he's ready for that yet. He's only had 15 fights as a pro. Let him have a mandatory. Let him have the Zelfa fight. Right? It's a big British fight. And let's see where he goes from there. Right? But it was a great performance. Can't take anything away from Cordina. I mean, just the win and the punch, it was a great setup, wasn't it? I mean, I think there's a little bit of an overreaction to it. I mean, it was a great finish, but it's certainly not the punch of the decade, right? Like I've been hearing, like it's the best punch people have ever seen. It's not, right? It was a great finish, believe me, it was, right? But it's not a punch of the decade, right? So I think there's a little bit of, I think people are going overboard with it, right? But what a win, great finish. Now it's time to make that fight. Zelfa Barrett, Joe Cordina. Let's make the fight. That's what we want to see. Right. Let me know what you think. Do you think Zelfa should be pushed more? Do you believe he's the next face of Manchester boxing? Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know.